the latest incarnation of the Dr. Dolittle story, this time following Robert Downey Jr. as the title character. I was never seen the Eddie Murphy ones, but I've always been familiar with them, but I've never had that interest or like wanting to actually watch them. So I kind of went into this movie kind of fresh with this whole universe. Like, I knew the idea of someone talking to animals, but that was as far as I went. But this movie, it's a very odd movie for Robert Downey Jr. to pick. I seen an interview with him and his wife, and the interviewer said to him, "Why did you choose to make this your follow-up to Endgame?" And he said, "Oh, the missus." But he said in a joking way, but I 100% believe he decided to do this because his kind of wife told him to do it, because it doesn't seem like a good business choice for someone who is probably the most likable actor at the moment. Like, after Endgame, he was the most popular actor, so now go down to do Dolittle. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense for him to have chose this as a career path to do. And while we're on the topic of Robert Downey Jr., even though he is probably one of the most likable actors at the moment, and probably one of the best actors working today, he's not good in this movie. I did not like his performance in this movie. The way he decided to talk, it's really irritating, and it just didn't really work for me. Like, they don't really put a lot of his dialogue in the trailer just because it doesn't really work, and you can't really make out what he's saying at a lot of times.
No choice but to embark on this perilous journey.
And he doesn't really feel like Robert Downey Jr. on screen. Like, if you watch the Sherlock movies as well as all the Iron Man movies, he just kind of demands every scene he's in. But in this movie, he just kind of feels very sidelined, even though he is the main character, he's the title character. You don't really feel that intrigued to see what's going to happen, and I really didn't care as I was playing him. All the animals, I couldn't tell, even though they had this big stacked voice cast, I could only tell Tom Holland. The rest of them, I had no idea who they were, even though I knew these actors were in it. I just couldn't tell who was who, because there's no very distinct use of their voices. Something like, I don't know why they had to spend so much money, because the budget is a massive budget. It's like 160 million for this movie, and like, you think it will go towards the CGI, but the CGI isn't groundbreaking, and it's nothing unique, and the CGI itself isn't really that good. It's nothing like incredible about it. Like, the gorilla looks good, but if you put him up to the gorillas in Planet of the Apes, there's no comparison. The Planet of the Apes movies are incredible compared to this movie, where the gorilla he's okay. You can tell it's CGI. Like, all the animals, you can tell are CGI, which for a movie that is solely based on the animals, you think it would have been a lot more seamless, where it would just feel like these animals are actually there rather than you can just see that it was CGI. Well, there was just so many weird decisions they decided to make. Like, at one point, Robert Downey Jr., they find a dragon, and this is not a spoiler, this is in the trailer, and he pulls a bagpipe out of the dragon's ass, and in the process of doing that, the dragon has a massive fart all over Robert Downey Jr.'s face. So at one point, he goes from being the main character, well, one of the main characters in the highest grossing movies of all time, to go into a very bad movie where a dragon literally farts in his face. Like, I don't get that at all. Like, not only that, it's just this movie, it's a really boring kids movie, and I know it is aimed at kids, and I've heard a lot of kids who have enjoyed it, but it's just, when kids movies, you kind of like kids movies also have moments that are good for adults, and that's kind of like, it's what most kids movies end to do, because they know kids can't go see these movies by themselves. There's going to be adults who have to go with them, so they'd like to put a few stuff in there for the adults to enjoy it. But this movie just did nothing. It did nothing for me. It's very unmemorable. I'll never watch it again, and I will never recommend this movie to anyone, because it is just a forgettable movie that I don't think is going to make much money. I don't think it has made much money so far, but I don't think it will make much money in the long run. I think it's going to be a big, massive kind of wet mark on Robert Downey Jr.'s career, and I think this movie alone is going to make him kind of a bit more like selected on what he picks, because I feel like he just didn't give much thought about picking this movie. So I think in the future he's going to kind of think about what he's going to pick more, and I think this is going to kind of make him go back to Marvel like a good bit. Even though Iron Man did die, I think everyone imagines he will come back, but I think this movie is going to be pushing him even more towards coming back, because this movie was a mess. But if you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts on the movie in the comments down below. Click that subscribe button so you can come back and see other movie reviews just like this one. And as always, thanks for watching.